Hello, everybody. I'm here today within this project of the origins of youth rugby in Florida with Ray Campion, who was one of the pioneers, I may say. How you doing, Ray? Welcome, and thank you for coming.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
So, Ray, tell us a little bit about your rugby career. How did you get into rugby?
I got into rugby and I'm dating myself. 1978. I was
Nice.
going to North Carolina State and running across the quad, and these guys were out there beating each other up. And so I asked how I can get involved.
That little
Yeah.
mistake, huh? And then,
Yeah.
and
So
you started playing in college.
I started playing in college and then spent a year at North Carolina State. Then I went to Sam Houston State in Texas and played rugby there. And then I went up to Utah uh, and played some rugby there at Weber State, but that was a men's team, not a college team.
Okay. And then you moved to
When we
Brevard.
moved from Utah in 1987 or 86, I didn't start into rugby right away. At that time, I started coaching soccer for my kid, and we did some t-ball, some baseball, and stayed with that for quite a few years. And then in 1994, 95, I got back into rugby here with the Brevard Red Eyes.
Oh, in the 90s. Okay. And so what made you start a team, a high school team over there in Brevard? Was your son playing or wanting to play?
No, neither one of my kids were too interested in playing rugby. So, but I was interested in continuing to coach. And since my kids were not playing soccer anymore, um, and I was still playing rugby, I thought it'd be a good idea to see what I can do in coaching rugby. So,
You
um,
you
just
were
got into it.
playing with Brevard at the time.
I was playing with Brevard at the time, yes.
Was it Brevard? I don't know back then if you guys were you still playing in D3 or was that D2?
We were playing D3. Yeah.
Okay. And this was something that you just sort of said, okay, I may do this. Did you get a support from the club? Did you start it with somebody, or was it mostly
We had a lot of support with the club. I did a little coaching with the YMCA, touch rugby, down in Melbourne, um, just to kind of see how it would go and if we can recruit players. Then did some preliminary work at Merritt Island High School, trying to get kids interested in it, showing some videos of rugby. And so that's pretty much how we started recruiting for high school rugby. Um, we had gone down and played uh, Indian River Rugby Club. That's where ran into Pip and Alan. And we had had some conversations about starting either youth program or a high school program. Uh, and so we did. We put the effort into it to see if we can get something going. And we were able to get a little traction and got some kids interested in playing.
so this must have been 2003 probably, right?
That sounds about right. Yes. 2003. I would say 2003, 2004, somewhere in there.
Okay, because in 2004 we already had the first championship, so this must have been the year before. And do you by any chance like remember your first practices? What did they look like?
What did they look like?
Yeah, because I guess you didn't have too many kids, and nobody knew anything. Or did you have any kid? Did you find any kid who had played rugby? That always helped a lot.
We found some kids who played rugby. We showed them some videos when we were trying to recruit them. Um, it was a little disorganized to start with, but we also we ran with the men's club at that time. So basically had the men show us, and then we went out there and did it as a unit, high school unit.
Yeah, that is actually a good environment to start because they can see, as opposed to just starting on your own and being in the pitch just by yourself. If you're with other rugby players that seem to know what they're doing, right?
Yeah, and the men's club, the guys that were out there at the time, they were very good about instructing them on passing and things like that, on what they were doing, stepping up and trying to be patient with the kids and explaining them what they're doing.
So how long did it go until you could arrange this first game with LPA, more or less?
Um, I, I honestly don't know. I think it was within you know, 6, 8 months of us talking together, and um, I think we played them down there first at their place,
Yes, correct.
and so it didn't take very long. Once we got the kids out there, they started catching on. Once you have an opponent, it's a lot easier to learn the game, I think.
Yeah, I found this picture. Will this be maybe of your first season? You look very
Uh,
young.
it's pretty close. I believe it's definitely the first season of the uniforms. So um, there's several of many of the faces I still recognize.
I don't know if you have 15 there. I don't think you have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
No, we we didn't.
Was that a common occurrence, like not being able to field 15 players?
Our first year, definitely, it was a common occurrence. But those kids didn't care. They wanted to go down. They would play with just us. They didn't want to take anybody new. Um, that was a very tight knit group.
And how did you like manage? Because at the beginning, my understanding is when you played your first game, there was no registration with USA Rugby even available, right? You would just go and play.
There was yeah, that is true.
And even I don't know the first season, because you guys would play with LPA. I mean, you played a few games with them because there was literally nobody else,
Correct.
right? And come 2004, you I guess you did go to that coaching. I'm going to show you the picture of the coaching clinic where everybody went. That you're going to recognize everybody. Just give me a second. And so tell me a little bit about the other teams, how you started to know about the other teams. Is this through people you already knew?
Most of those people I did not know. I think I ran into them through Pip and Alan, um, and the coaching clinic when we went down there to did the coaching clinic and found out that there were other teams uh, forming if they hadn't actually formed yet. Let's see, that is, I don't have my glasses on. Um, which team is that?
No, these are all the coaches.
Oh,
Steve
maybe.
Young, Bill Shelley,
Oh, that's correct. Okay,
the
yeah.
guys from Taravella, everybody from Taravella, Chris Ream, Ronnie. I've always heard that at that clinic there was sort of like a this is what
Actually, I don't think I'm in that picture.
no you are, yeah,
Um,
you definitely are. Let me tell you where, because you don't have your glasses.
I had already had my coaching certificate because I was helping out with the men at that time.
Oh, you may not be there. That's right,
No,
unless
I
you're the one.
I was not at that particular one.
Oh, you were not here. Okay. How did you manage like the at the beginning the expenses of the team, how to get the uniforms and stuff like that? Was
Had a
that
lot of help from the Brevard Men's Club. I had donations to buy the jerseys. Went ahead and ordered the jerseys. Scott McLaughlin gave us some money. Terry Mulroney gave us the transportation, the van to use, his van to use. Um, Mike Nevin and Gattos did the maintenance on the van. The men's club provided balls. It was a team effort in helping getting our first team going. Corky Newman was instrumental in providing all the support I needed to get this going.
What was the situation with the parents? Were they involved or not?
First year parents were not that involved because they didn't know the game. They didn't understand it. Um, and we did have a meeting with the parents before our first game to sit down and talk about what rugby is, what the culture of rugby is, um, what our plans were for the season. That particular season was just an introduction to rugby. We weren't looking to win any or very many games. We were just looking to teach the game, teach the culture, and provide an outlet for some of these kids who were not playing an organized sport like football, baseball, basketball. So that's where we got most of our kids.
You had to remind the parents not to enter the field at each rack or mall. That was part of the game.
No, I think after they saw the first couple of them, they didn't want to even cross across the rope line. So they didn't want to cross the personnel rope. It was for them. I'm sure it was organized chaos.
Uh, what then we had this first season in 2004. Do you remember how that went? Because now we have these six teams. Do you remember the six teams?
Let me see. I remember most of the six teams. You might have to help me with that, but I know we played every game um,
Yeah,
with enthusiasm. I don't think we won a game. I think
uh,
we started with 13. I think the most we ever had was 16 players that first year. Um, but we had we played LPA. I believe we played Naples that first year, and in Naples. That one we lost 65-5,
yeah.
but my kids loved it. They never looked back. Most of those kids played for years after that.
What were they? Because it is, I think, maybe it also happens in other sports, but it does seem to happen a lot in rugby that once they start playing and they like it, they really like it, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Once they start playing and they like it, they tend to it gets in their blood. Just like me running across the quad in 1978. It was it's hard to walk away.
The other teams that you played that first season, Northeast Nomads, with
Northeast Nomads, correct.
North Broward Prep.
Yes, North Brevard Prep. I believe they had a turf field. I'm
Yeah.
not positive
Yes.
of that.
Yes, at
That
the
was our
school.
first time playing on turf, and
Oh, really?
yeah, we got a few rug burns from that one. But
Didn't
kids were
didn't Naples have a turf field also?
theirs was grass.
Oh, maybe it was grass at the beginning at the school.
Yeah, at the school.
Oh, because by the time I went to play with Miami, they had that one in turf.
Yeah, and that's where I
And
met Steve
Taravera.
Young for the first time too. So
How was the? Because I've spoken with a few of the other coaches. Tell me about the relationship between you guys, because it seemed to be like very cordial and everybody helping out everybody else.
oh, I think it was we had a great relationship with them. We all had the same common goal is to one was to get the game of rugby going in Florida at the high school level. Um, and we all had the same sort of mindset that teach the game, teach the culture. Um, let's get this going. Um, sometimes when teams would come up to Brevard County, we have that little clubhouse there, and we'd have uh, after the game a little coaches uh, debrief in the back room. I won't say there was alcohol involved or not, but
Probably not.
uh, well, That's my recollection, right? But anyway, it was a high school game. But that was great because we got to learn about, or we got to, we all have our perspective on how we think our teams did, but it's good to get someone else's perspective.
That is actually a great idea. I've never heard of that before, to be honest. Like a specific get together of the coaches, like among themselves, because coaches talk after the games, or
Yeah.
they don't. But that seems like a nice, interesting thing to do.
Well, that boils back to the culture I remember rugby is, you go out and play, and then following the game, you know, you beat each other for 80 minutes or 70 minutes in high school. And then you talk about it, you get to socialize a little bit, tell them what you think of them, but all in good spirits.
Also, you guys at the time, of course, were sort of building this thing because that first year, which I find pretty impressive, that you could just kick off the league with 6 teams and with no prior, you're not like joining a league, you're just creating it. So I guess you had to a lot of things to talk about moving forward.
Yeah, we
Were you a part of that uh, efforts to organize it?
yes, yes. I was part of it. I felt that we were still we were still technically under the FRU, Florida Rugby Union, but I also felt that for the high school and the youth leagues to get going, we need to sort of have our own organization because we have, in my mind at that time, different goals than what the men's club and the college clubs were doing at that time. We just felt that we just need to stay focused on the development of high school rugby and development of youth rugby in the state of Florida.
There was a little bit of a struggle there with the union, right? In terms of then the
Yes,
union
but
wanting to.
I mean, they didn't shut us down. They did provide a representative to our meetings. So just to make sure things were, we didn't go completely off track. Um, but the main thing was trying to get some bylaws, some codes of conduct, some, how we operate, which for the most part is along the same lines of the FRU, but we had some things different for the kids. We even tried to have our own disciplinary chair, stuff like that. So I think uh, it helped get us going because we got to meet every year and talk about what we want to do the following year. And if there's
And
any, go ahead. Sorry.
in terms of over the seasons that you played with, you had this team, which I think Brevard, that team by probably 2013 was gone. Do you remember when it ended as
Okay.
Brevard?
Yes, I wound up. My job folded in 2011,
Okay.
and that's when the space shuttle program ended. And we had a lot of engineers that had to find jobs, and I found a job in Mississippi that was supposed to be a 2-year stint and wound up being 6. But so that was my last year involved, was 2011.
And there was not a structure in place to keep the team going. It sort of depended too much on you, relied too much on you.
Uh, with regards to Bavard Old Red Eye, I do understand that Steve Young and some others had started the Cape Pirates out of,
Steve
um,
Roper.
I'm sorry, yes, my bad. Steve Roper and some others had started out there at Cocoa Beach. Um, and so they had they started a high school and a youth program that was pretty successful the first few years that they get kicked off.
Yeah, they picked it up, but it was not Brevard Old Red Eye. It was they were called the
Brevard supported
Cape,
them. We
Cape
we used
Pirates.
this, yeah, it was the Cape Pirates, but Brevard supported them. We provided the fields, the paint. Uh,
Yeah, it was like their team. Don't you find it to some extent a little uh, uh, I don't know, strange, this thing that most men's teams do not, for what I've seen, where all these youth programs, even if they're like sort of representing the clubs like we have, like we had in Miami, or you guys, or in Naples, they were always separate from the men's club.
um,
And I mean, I sort of sort of understand why that happened, and I would say it's because the first of all, most clubs are really teams, right? It's the men's team, that it's just one team. It's not like a club mentality where, oh, let's have all these teams, you know. So they just can't get out of that sort of mindset. Oh, the kids are coming, you're gonna take care. Oh yeah, we'll support you. But it's like,
well, I, I, I personally think that Brevard, the youth team or the high school team, we always intended or always was hoping for like a 5-year plan in which these kids who they get out of high school, they go to college. If they come back, they'll still want to play rugby. We were looking to keep developing the Brevard Rugby men's club down the road. So we, some of those kids were still playing, or might even still be playing. I mean, I have to go back and look, but they're uh, the idea was to help not just develop a high school team, but maybe help our recruiting efforts. We looked at it as a long-term program, 4 or 5 years.
yeah, that doesn't seem to work out too much, because kids go to, if they go to college, most likely out of your own county, they go somewhere else, even if they stay in the state, and then 4 years later, who knows? So the
Well,
ratio of kids coming back to play for their men's club is really
Well, that is
low.
true. And then life happens, if you're a
Yeah.
kid in high school and then you go to college and then, wind up with a family. Rugby is a tough sport to continue playing if you're also trying to start your family and start a job and all that. So, um, but we were hoping. Plus, it was fun. It was fun having the kids around.
Do you keep in touch with some of these kids over the years?
Yes, I do. Facebook friends with quite a few of them still. And so yeah, I keep in touch with them through Facebook, through Messenger, and things like that.
This is a game from 2010 that you may remember, with Miami.
Yep.
You know what I remember from this game? It's one of those things that, because I mean, but by now I've been with my kids. I would go to every game, and it's, I don't know, maybe 100 games by now. In
y-
15 years. But
Yep.
one thing I remember from this one, because you guys were short of players, you had 13 players, and I think the game was going to start, and the kids were, but we only 13, and I always remember you saying, "Deal with it,
Yeah.
deal with
Yeah.
it." Just giving them the, okay. Now that's your problem. Just that was a
Yeah.
great
I
attitude, I think, that you had there, where they get to learn to resolve an issue that they had.
Hey, life doesn't always go the way you want it,
Yeah.
but you gotta, you're there in that situation, so you need to get out there and represent and do the best you can. And I think we did pretty good in this game, even though
We tied this game. It was 17-17.
yes, yeah, we showed up with 13, and um, we dropped our flankers. I think we mentioned that earlier. We dropped our flankers and we played the game with 13 on 15.
Yeah, for us it was I think this was our third game ever. So the kids were still learning. You had some tough guys there playing.
Yeah, so we had some tough guys. We had
like
I won't
aggressive
say
and
I won't say we were bigger, but they had a few games under their belt. We also had a very good kicker who kept the ball down in the your end of the field most of the time. So
my videotaping has improved over the years for sure.
yes, it has. Yes, it has. But I'm glad you got that.
Yeah,
That's
this
I
is
appreciate that.
this is another game now in Miami. And one thing that we had back then was this issue of, because we had so few players, that we would play high school, and you had kids like, that's my kid with the long hair. He was 14 years old at the time. So
Yes,
you had 14-year-olds playing with 18-year-olds all together.
we
That
we had we had a couple of 14-year-olds. We had some 18-year-olds playing together. Um, Not too many 18. I would say 17, but yes.
well, 17, 18, like juniors
Yes.
and seniors playing against sometimes middle school kids. But
Hmm.
I mean, if we just couldn't play if we didn't do that.
It was the only way to get the games going with the right numbers.
Now it sounds a little bit crazy because we don't do this anymore. Like it's prohibited.
Yes, USA Rugby came out with some rules and guidelines for high school and for youth rugby about age groups playing against other age groups and genders.
Yeah. You guys never got into high school girls, right?
K Pirates did. Yes, they had a girls program.
Oh, they did.
Yes. And they played a few games against Sebastian River High School.
When you say Cape Pirates, do
K,
you mean
K Pirates did, but I was not here at that time.
with Steve Roper? I did not know that. I have talked with Alan Dobson about all the stuff that went on over there in Indian
Hmm.
River.
We would also on the girls program. I did take down when I came back from Mississippi. We did take a girls team down to. They were playing sevens rugby girls. We did take a team down there,
Yeah,
so I
that.
know that girls were playing.
Were you involved with the Florida Juice to any extent?
I had a little bit of involvement with them, not very much. I think I went over and helped coach or help some of the coaching in Lakeland. We provided some kids from our team to try out. Um,
Did you
but I
get any
didn't.
kids? Did any kids get selected? Because the Juice went on to travel a lot and play. They had a really good run.
We did have. I'm trying to remember who those kids were. We did have a couple of kids go. I can't remember their names. So at this point,
Yeah, well, it's been 20 years. That's fine.
a lot of beers between now and then.
Uh, do you remember any kind of rivalry you would have with any specific team?
Of course, we had a rivalry with LPA because they were close, and not only did we play league games with them, but we played, scrimmages with them because it was close. Um, Always enjoyed playing Naples, Barbarians out of Tampa, um, and then and Tampa Crew. Um, we Every year seemed to be a little different rivalry, but it was good. It was good to have that.
Any? Do you remember any time that sort of a game went out of control?
Went out of control?
Yeah.
Not really.
No.
Not really. We had a sevens game that I think went out of control, but that was
Seven.
later.
Was the discipline something you were really hard on with the kids on behavior?
Ye- I, I would say yes. It was
I mean, by
they.
that I mean like sometimes I've seen in some teams, even if the kids do not get like penalized for behavior on the field, then when they go back to the team, they get penalized internally for the behavior, for disrespect or whatever it is.
we've had discussions about showing respect to your opponent and the referee. I didn't tolerate a lot of talk back to the referee or um, foul play. Um, and, you know, if a kid got picked on or something and we defended that kid, that was fine. That was what old school rugby, it's like, if he's going to do something stupid like put his hand on the ball, then he might get some cleat marks in it. But that was to the extent of it. I didn't want anybody to think rugby in a bad light.
Of course. Um, any special relationship with any of the coaches?
Um, I enjoyed
Now
being.
it's the time to say nice things or bad things about anybody.
No, no, I would never say anything
Remember.
bad, especially the founding fathers of the FYRU. I enjoyed every one of those relationships. I enjoyed talking with Steve Young quite a bit. We did a lot of phone conversations back and forth about you know the future of our league and how we're going to handle the rules and regulations and the bylaws and what made sense, what didn't, what makes sense at the men's club level, but doesn't make sense at the high school level. And I think we fed off each other. Uh, we, he let me see a lot of common sense things when it comes to how you should run an organization like this. And I immensely enjoyed my conversations with him. But Pip True, Alan Dobson were two others that I did a lot of talking with because we were close and close as far as distance. But we got to see each other a lot because of that too.
Yeah, not too much internet back in those days.
No,
No video calls like these.
uh,
And listen, you guys did a lot of work back in the day because it wasn't just I'm just comparing it to nowadays where, not all but many clubs, they have a lot of people helping out, and many times the coaches, they're just coaching and that's it, and they don't have to worry about too much more. And back then you guys were like doing everything, like the fundraising, the coaching, the administration.
that is true. Most of us coaches, especially that first year, we did a lot of all that work ourselves. Um, when you were lucky enough to have parents to help you with that, that was great. I was lucky enough to have the Brevard Red Eye rugby team behind me on everything I did. Um, so, uh, whatever we needed, if I couldn't get it right away, I got help from Corky, from Scott Little, who was coaching at the time. Um, as mentioned, Mike Nevin and Dave Caneen and a couple other those guys were helping out. I'm sure I'm missing somebody, but
And I like to ask this to everybody. Why do you think, I mean, we probably can agree that rugby has not really taken off to any significant extent overall. It's still a very small sport at all levels. I'm just saying, like, in a 20 years period, like in most cities, we still have the same teams. We may have one or two that, in the same city that have popped up or in different cities, but overall, you look for in 20 years, it has not really grown that much. E- At the youth level, of course, youth started a little bit later. Uh, but why do you think it doesn't like take off?
at the high school and youth level, I believe that there's a lot of competition amongst the different sports in the U.S. You got soccer, you got baseball, you got lacrosse, you got basketball. Um, so and a lot of those are varsity sports in high school where rugby's not. So people tend to invest more time in those kind of sports. And then in college, if you can get a scholarship for any of those, that that's that's just the next step up. Um, Other than Life and Palmer, and I don't even know if Life still offers scholarships
Yeah,
anymore.
that yes, definitely
Yeah,
does.
but I mean, it's not that prevalent in the colleges anymore, or colleges,
Hmm.
um, not your traditional colleges. So um, I could be mistaken. I'm a little out of the college scene. It's been quite a few years since I even talked college uh, rugby or anything. But that's part of it. The other part, I believe, is the lack of real serious marketing of the sport on mainstream television, cable, whatever. Uh, you know, I've seen things on ESPN Ocho, and I don't see rugby. And it's like cornhole, for instance. I used to see professional cornhole. What is that? Why do they get any time? But hopefully that changes. Hopefully there's enough sponsorship showing up in rugby. But again, I don't know. It, I just don't think we got the exposure we need.
Okay. I like to ask that because, being the best sport in the world, you wonder why. Why do not more people play it, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Well, rugby is played in 90 different countries
No,
or
no,
over that.
no doubt.
Soccer the same thing, but in the U.S. it's struggling.
So, Ray, you've been involved a lot with rugby as a player, and then as developing that high school team. That is a totally different situation. And when you look back at all your career and what you did with these kids, what are your like emotions and thoughts? What has that given you over the years?
Oh, a lot of satisfaction. I loved coaching. I loved teaching. I loved the conversations I had with the kids. I love to have the conversations that them asking me or coming back to me. Um, I I refed both soccer and rugby. Um, in both sports, you have the best seat in the house when you referee or either soccer or rugby. You get a chance to talk and smile and uh, have a good time. I know people tend to yell at the refs a lot, but on the pitch, it's a lot different. It's an absolute pleasure. So I wouldn't have changed anything.
Okay, as you know, we are missing a high school team in Coco, so maybe you want to restart that as you enjoyed it so much. What do
I
you
would
think?
love to. I would love to. And um, been talking a little bit with Corky and Mike Nevin about that. Josh Gruner is a old player of the Red Eyes. Well, I won't say old; he's still quite young, but uh, he's at Vieira High School, and
Okay.
uh, I don't think we'll be able to do a team this year, but it's certainly looking.
Oh, you are
We'll,
looking into it.
we're looking into it. Yeah.
Okay. Because I
So
forgot to mention, you guys are like one of the very few teams that actually you don't own it, but you have access to this. Your field with the clubhouse, like if it's your own, right? And that.
yes, we work with the Brevard County Parks and Rec. We obtained the field after it was basically abandoned by the Coco soccer club at that time.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I knew about that through reffing soccer here in Brevard County, and we got with Parks and Rec, and they pretty much set us up on that pitch.
I have been talking to you about that pitch, and the only thing that pitch really needs is some nice pair of uprights.
Well, I'll certainly pass it on and see what we can do about that.
Oh, everybody knows because I do not miss any opportunity to insist on you guys getting that
Regulation goalposts.
because I just saw the a picture on Facebook, and the grass looks really nice.
Yeah.
This that that's a view from. So I mean, that's just a great thing that you have that thing that allows you to, because availability of field, sometimes it's really hard in other parts. Okay, Ray, thank you very much. I thank you for what you have done to get rugby going in those pioneer years and sticking around. And so maybe we'll see you in the future on the sideline.
I
Deal with it.
I have to deal with it. Well, I hope so. And thank you very much for this opportunity to speak to you about Brevard Rugby.
Okay, I'll see you soon. Don't
All
go
righty.
away.
You take care, sir.
Bye.
Bye.